numbers. I'm gonna meet you out at the Cheesecake Factory so we can go to dinner. They at the Cheesecake Factory. It's their first date out. And before the night's over, cheesecake. So how long you like to be stroked?
Yeah.
You think that's a reasonable question?
I would not lean in.
No.
I don't think a lot of people would lean in like that.
You ask her that right when you give her the cheesecake.
Yeah. If you look at the internet, people ask those questions via text, but I don't even know who the people are.
I'm saying if you're trying to build a responsible, reasonable relationship, something that looks like it's gonna make sense over time, do you think there is any way you can ask that question? And if so, please provide me the example so that these people out there in the internet can be like, oh, I can ask her how long she likes to be pumped.
Very
but
easy.
I can do it in a responsible and respectful way.
Very simply, ask her what are her preferences. What are your preferences?
Preferences about what? That's a big question.
Well,
we're talking specifically. We're talking specifically about.
Hold on. No. You asked me a question. I'm giving you my answer.
My question is about how long does she want to be stroked?
My answer is, you ask the question. I'm teaching here.
What
are your preferences?
I prefer blue over red.
That's fine.
How does that answer your question?
I wouldn't ask you the question because you ain't a woman.
Whoa.
No, but I'm saying, but what if that's a response? I prefer chocolate ice cream over vanilla.
Ra, the hypothetical that Ra was talking about was like when you in the initial phases. In that initial phase, you got to put it down. So all of this 9-minute average BS, that's for later on when we establish, we years into it. In that first time, you got to put it down, and everybody knows that. So let's be 100% with Straight No Chaser the podcast. But now, if we are committed, we in the relationship is years down the line, you know exactly which buttons to push, or you should, to get your partner where they need to go in a certain amount of time. So on a Tuesday, we ain't got time to be, let's just get it in, do what we need to do, and move on. Now, Saturday night, we might be able to pull out the strings and the whistles.
That's
a string. You did there. I like that.
My lean in the
hold on.
I didn't
wrong. Let
me get some of these comments though. Tease was talking about. She said, "Look, ask everything. Period. She wants to know it all from beginning to end." And
why you pulling them up too, Rob?
Yeah.
It's again, if you in that initial conversation piece, there's no you don't have a necessarily goal to ask the question. You're just asking questions to see where the road leads. You ride in the car together, and you don't have a destination until you get a destination. When you get a destination, you get very specific directions. Which house is it?
Y'all sound real like y'all figured this
mature.
Out. No, that's not mature. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying it's immature. What I'm saying, it sounds ideal. Ideally, yes. But I don't think it works like that in the real world. I think in the real world, you start opening up with questions like that on the first date. What you're identifying is whether or not you got someone who's a prude or a freak. And I think if you identify that you got a freak, because she's like, yo, let's swing for some chandeliers. That's my preference. We're going to go all night long. Then I think in the real world, what you're going to do at that point is try to slut her out. And then the whole relationship.
If you ask them questions, she's going to talk about you bad in the group text. And
you know she is.
Right.
You know you're going to be all up in her group text.
As soon as you ask something dumb like that, she's going to be like, no.
And John.
So look at what Christina put on in her quote.
If someone asked me early on how long I want to be stroked, red flags, 4 of them.
Like
Rasheem and John, let me ask you guys this question. What do you believe that women, when they see a man, knows what's the time frame does it take for them to identify if they are willing or would desire to have sex with them?
Immediately.
I think they know that right away.
Okay.
But here he go with his shady comparisons.
I love it.
You know, he got to have a shade. At least one. He got to give us one.
Check this out. If they know and they've agreed to go out, have drinks, kick it with you in any kind of way, then that's a feather in your cap, right? Because most men, they desire them too. Like there's a mutual level of attraction. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are aggressive and abrasive, then obviously red flags and they're gonna be gone. Like you should be gone. However, if you are filling out the situation appropriately, if you're having great conversation, you can't just pivot and be like, "Hey man, how you like a coochie to be ate?" I mean, that's too. You can't do that.
Who can't do that? Who can't do that? No.
I mean, it wouldn't be a wise decision.